3:22.
Right? We just want to record like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
like roughly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters in Deen Feed family. Welcome back to another episode on the right lane. I'm here with my good friends, Sheikh Junaid Ahmed. You could hear me loud and clear.
Assalamu alaikum, positive.
And Sheikh Akib Chaudhry.
Loud and clear.
Loud and
Sounds
clear.
great.
So we had some audio problems last time when we were recording it and ordered this entire recording kit.
Beefed it up.
So you guys can give us a feedback and how things sound right now. So on today's episode, inshallah, we're going to be discussing about Ramadan boosters, things that can boost our Ramadan up, and also some miscellaneous and related questions to the month of Ramadan.
The reason why we're calling this Ramadan boosters, right? So I think
Yeah.
to give a little pretext.
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
everyone, Is first we were thinking about doing the what was the topic we were gonna
Moon
do?
sighting.
Moon sighting.
Moon
yeah.
fighting.
But we were like, we should save that towards the end of the month when it's more relevant.
Yeah.
But nowadays, a lot of people ask the question like, "Oh, I have exams, I have this, I have that, I can't come to Taraweeh," and some go to the extent of saying, "Oh, I can't even fast." So that's the reason why I guess we're just gonna share our own experiences and what are some of the tips we are using and we can give others to make their Ramadan most productive and efficient.
Yeah, it's
especially
needed.
at this time of the year, because we have Ramadan in the middle of the school year or college year. A lot of people, some guys are working and going to school at the same time, so these questions come up a lot.
Yeah, so let us start. I have a question here by a sister asked, especially just, that you mentioned in regards to the month of Ramadan. Every year, about 9 to 10 days, the Ramadan comes, before or after? Before,
Yeah.
right? So by the time you know it, we're going to have the month of Ramadan, and pretty much 4 or 5 years from now is going to be in the winter time.
Yeah.
And that also kind of goes right into the exam terms and the midterms and the exams in the schools and especially the colleges. So the students always asking that if I can skip the fast. So which one of you want to answer that?
Even this year,
Even this
Ramadan
year.
is going into May. I think a lot of college-going people, they have exams in May. So
So
it's
give
like
us
the middle
some
of the term
insight,
for some
inshallah.
colleges.
So what's your advice on this for the students?
Well, before we get to advice, just from the fiqh perspective, you would have to fast. I don't think you're allowed to leave off fasting just because you have an exam. Just like if you're working, you have to fast, right? Unless it's to a point where you're about to pass out or with something that actually detrimental to your health, right? Other than that, out of difficulty, that's not a reason. We know that in our Sharia that you're only allowed to break your fast for certain Sharia excuses, right? Whether if you're traveling, for example, even if you happen to be traveling first class, you still can break your fast, right? It's legislated. Or if you're actually sick, working or studying, in our case, exams. As much as mental pressure as it is, I don't think that constitutes something that would be.
So there is absolutely no loophole for this.
Not that I believe so.
Unless you're gonna pass out or something.
Unless you're gonna pass out.
So there's
the stress is so much you're gonna pass out. You need water or something, right?
Just wanted to mention to the viewers, we're all fasting right now.
Of
So
course.
if we stumble over words, do be considerate, inshallah, and pardoning.
Yeah, we just finished our day shift.
Yeah. And I always forget to tell. I don't really get to see you guys. Hopefully your Ramadan is going well, and also for the viewers, hopefully your Ramadan is also going well. So that clears up the whole exam part, right?
Yeah.
The fiqh perspective.
The fiqhi perspective, right?
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no loopholes in just because I have exams, I have midterms, I cannot skip my fast, right? Okay.
I think there's like a little bit about our ambitions and having like that moral strength. Like I can do it. When you have that mindset, I think it becomes easy. There's this YouTuber that I watch sometimes. His name is Muhammad. This channel, his name is Dat Medic. So from UK, I don't know if you guys know, but he's a surgery resident, and he's like his day shift starts at 8 o'clock, and he has a 16-hour shift where he works in the hospital. After that, he has to come home and study for exams, and he's still fasting because residents, you gotta like take exams and this and that. So it's all about him. Like I was really, surprised by his strength.
That's the encouragement that we need. We need
Exactly.
those types of encouragements.
Exactly. Right.
And don't forget about the huffaz.
Oh yeah.
Say, I have to lead Taraweeh, so I have to read the whole day. So can I skip fasting? Right? That gets tough.
Yeah.
All right, so we have our next question over here.
But I think before we move on, maybe we could talk about some advices. So if a person can't break
Sure.
the fast, what are ways that he can, get around that?
Right. Some of the things maybe
optimize.
we are ourselves using, or
Yeah.
what you're doing yourself to.
like in terms of going throughout the day fasting and then working and
Like
studying and all
management,
that.
time management.
Time
Any
management.
tips on time management? You have to leave Taraweeh. You have work here. You have academics. You have, I'm pretty sure, family. You got 2 kids, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah, yeah.
So,
Yep, you're right. You're right about that. Everybody has their own experience, right? So my workload is not going to be the same as someone else's, but the Ramadans that I experience, especially leading Taraweeh at nighttime and then working at the daytime, then you have family, you have parents, right? Some of us have older parents that we need to take care of and tend to. The best advice that I can give is that don't delay in anything. Like, say, for example, if I'm trying to watch a show or I'm going to be busy on my phone, right? Those things become pretty much a waste of time, and you lose energy from, utilizing your time in that sense. So it's like going to sleep right after Taraweeh, pray your Taraweeh, go to sleep right away, put that alarm on, get up for the suhoor time or the fajr time, pray, but go to sleep right away. We tend to use
Stay
our
up.
time
Yeah.
and stay up, and then we make that excuse. I believe that if you can maintain the way you sleep, that's one of the main highlights throughout your day. If you have sleep, then you have the energy for everything, and of course, stay hydrated.
yeah, I
have
remember
those-
LeBron James saying something about sleep. He's like, you need that sleep, or what is it,
Yeah,
Kobe? They're like,
Exactly.
you need
And then
that
in the
sleep.
daytime, if you could have a nap, then that's great.
Yeah.
If that nap is actually a booster for you to go on through the day. We could have all the sunnah things. Make sure during suhoor time you eat a decent breakfast, right?
Yeah.
A lot of us, in our culture, it's about, hey, get the curry and eat meat with rice and then roti, right? But the thing is that those type of food doesn't really stay inside your body.
For sure.
If you eat breakfast for breakfast, right? You see those cereal advertisements that they give. Have breakfast for breakfast. I'm talking about have breakfast for breakfast.
Something nutritional, something that gets you going.
Yeah.
Then it can get you going.
Yeah.
So if you have any other advice,
I think suhoor is very important because I just
Yeah.
had experience last week where I actually had fast food after Taraweeh, and that just completely dried my entire body out, and the next day was miserable. So what you eat has a big impact on yourself as well.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the nutritional.
Yeah,
Anything
I just
you
came
wanna-
across this hadith just the other day that sums up everything we're talking about with the suhoor and sleeping. Where the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ista'inu bi ta'am as-sahar ala siyam al-nahar, wasta'inu bi qaylulat al-nahar ala qiyam al-layl."
subhanallah.
So basically,
Jinx.
yeah.
Jinx. You owe me iftar. All right, go ahead with
So basically, take help towards your fasting of the day
Mm-hmm.
with the suhoor of the night, and take help for the Qiyamul layl of taking a nap in the day with the qaylula. So like you mentioned, taking that nap, you have to do, like we're talking about right before we came here, like in the afternoon, you need that hour, half an hour, whatever it might be, that booster, and at nighttime to make sure to take suhoor. I think those are, it sums up what we were just talking about. And then the other thing is like prioritizing, compartmentalizing, like what you have to do. And sometimes you just have to like figure out another way to do something, just making it work. Like yesterday, I went from work and my dad just came up like, oh, I got to go to the doctor's. Usually he tells me a day before so I can plan it out or whatever. He just told me. But I'm like, I have Taraweeh coming and this and that. So one of my siblings just recently got their license. So I'm like,
You
I
better
got to
go.
risk it.
You the chore person.
Yeah. The only thing is last time I tried it and they bought my car. So I was like, I'm not going to give it anymore. But then I'm like, it's Ramadan. I just got to do it. Take that risk. So sometimes, you got to like weigh your options and just make things
I
work.
think that summarizes it perfectly, right?
Yep.
Because everyone's schedule is different. But
different.
at the end of the day, you just want to prioritize what are must-dos, what are things that you can kind of push back a little bit. Just prioritize. Everyone has their own schedule.
And you also have to give it up to those individuals. And some of these individuals can be elders from our family or even young people who go out to work like at suhoor time. They're probably having suhoor in the car.
Yeah.
Or those individuals who are having iftar in their car.
Yeah.
In New York City traffic, you're definitely going to be stuck.
Yeah.
So
Talking about the workers, I remember like healthcare workers and nurses and stuff. They do 12-hour shifts. Most of the iftar and stuff is in the hospital. Like, just have a bar or something and a milk or something.
Definitely the nurses and stuff. Those
Yeah.
individuals who work in hospitals. I have a friend. I don't know if he's listening. His name is Abir, and he's always working at nighttime. And I tell him, hey, you want to play ball tonight? He's like, no, I'm working tonight. You want to play Call of Duty? And he would be like, oh, I'm at work tonight. And I could imagine what he's going through even through the month of Ramadan. May Allah Ta'ala bless them.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's just 1 month. You got to keep it in mind. Just 1 month. It's not like forever, whole year. And the other thing with the food, right? Like when you're talking about medically, like we can go on for like literally weeks without food. That's what Gandhi did, you know. For like 3 weeks, he would go on hunger strikes.
I'm just thinking like that.
So it's just a mental thing. Like we have strength to do all this stuff.
And we do learn from the narration of the Prophet ﷺ where he fasted for even 2 days, 3 days straight.
Yeah, it was just a swadain.
Yeah, and he did tell his companions not to do that because they aren't like him in his energy, right? Am I correct? Right.
Yeah.
He did tell a Sahaba who came to him and said that I want to fast for, keep on fasting.
Yeah,
And he said, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that should summarize everything about the advices on, how to go throughout the day of fasting. So I have a question because we also have a time limit. So we kind of have like about approximately 8 minutes on the line. So inshallah. Our next question will be, so a brother asked me over the weekend, he said his mother wakes him up for the Qiyamul layl and says that, you have to do it. And then he goes on to tell me saying that especially the last 10 nights, those nights, his mom literally forces him to get up for the Qiyamul layl. So he's thinking over here that is it fard to do that or not? The thing here is that I sometimes, culture comes in over Islam, like our religion. Right, and that sometimes gives people the understanding or the impression that, the Prophet ﷺ, he boosted his ibadah the last 10 nights, so they're probably under the impression that Qiyamul Layl is what? Is fard, the last 10 nights. But I'm guessing over here, Laylatul Qadr has to do with one of those catches, right? Because you want to be able to catch the Laylatul Qadr, one of the odd nights or even the last 10 nights. Maybe that's why his mother was giving him that boost to do that and actually forcing him to do it and said it's compulsory. So how would you answer that?
Well, the Prophet ﷺ actually said in a hadith that the month of Ramadan جعل صيامه فرضا وقيام ليله تطوعا. That the siyam is the fard part, but Qiyamul Layl is optional. So another thing, prioritizing. Know that the Qiyamul Layl is optional, Taraweeh is optional. Of course, the reward is exponential, and you have, the reward, you can't get it outside of Ramadan. Okay. But, if your work is 16-hour shift, then maybe you just want to pray as maybe 8 rakat or less, because your body has right upon you too. In a Sahih Hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that when one of you feels sleepy, he should stop praying because he doesn't know if he's cursing Allah or if he's praising Allah. One time he went to the masjid and there was a rope by the woman's side. And he asked, whose rope is that? They say it's for Zainab. He asked, why is it there? They're like, because she gets so tired, she has to hold onto it, to lean on it, to pray. And he's like, open it up, take it. That's not how it's supposed to be done. Go take a nap, sleep, and come worship Allah when you're able to offer the best version of your worship.
And I think that's one of the things with Taraweeh, right? Because Taraweeh is called Taraweeh because you have rest, right? A lot of people think that, I have to go to masjid, I have to pray straight, whatever, an hour and a half with the imam, right? If you can, of course, praying with the imam is immensely rewarding. But if you can't, you could break up your prayers too. You could pray maybe 4 rakats after Isha. You could take a nap. You could wake up later before suhoor, a few minutes and just pray another few rakats at that time too. You don't have to go up straight praying, however much you want to pray at that time. You're allowed to break it up.
That's the question that I was going to, right after Sheikh Junaid cleared up about the Qiyamul Layl. The other question was pretty much relating to this, where another brother asked that, can I skip Taraweeh, right? Because he says that it's not fard, sunnatu mu'akkada, right? That's the degree of the fiqh pretty much right here. And what would you say to this, that if a person says that I want to skip Taraweeh because it's not fard, would I be sinful or not?
Well, I think it depends how you look at it. Of course, we're not saying it's fard, right? But at the same time, you don't want to belittle it either, right? Just say it's only a sunnah, right?
Okay, so
there's levels to it. If you're looking at the perspective of what Sheikh Junaid was just speaking about, a guy that's working 16-hour shifts, right, and he just can't pray, right? or he only has time to pray maybe 2, 4, 6, however much he can pray. That's one thing. But if you're just sitting at home, and you got nothing else,
like it's not fun.
and it's like farad, I mean, come on.
It's not even the issue. I mean, we're not talking about if it's 8 rakat or 20 rakats. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about in
The
general.
prayer.
So, can you skip it or not? Would a person be sinful?
So again, he wouldn't be sinful because originally what the Prophet ﷺ, he started to pray, right? First night, second night, third or fourth. Aisha radiallahu anha said the Prophet stopped coming because he said, "Khashitu an tufrada alaykum." I fear it's going to become fard upon you.
Okay.
And
Is this just to clarify? Is this your research and your opinion? Because I know some of the scholars would say that a person would be sinful. So this is your research or opinion, or
no,
I don't think any. It's with agreement by everybody. It's sunnah, right? I don't think anyone does.
It's not sunnah to mu'akkada. It's not that type of sunnah in which if you let go.
So sunnah mu'akkada is, if I understand it correctly, is emphasize sunnah. Right?
Yeah.
Meaning that if you leave it off here and there, you're not sinful. But if you get into a habit, like I'm just gonna completely not do it, right?
Okay.
Then you may get sinful. Not for leaving off a sunnah act, but for the fact that you're completely neglecting a sunnah, as if you're belittling the sunnah, right? That's if you completely, like, the whole month of Ramadan goes by, like, I'm just not gonna pray.
Yeah.
But if you miss a night, 2 nights, 3 nights, I mean, you're not gonna get sinful for that. I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jazakallah for clarifying, because people want to know, like, if I'm going to be
By the
sinful.
way, we're not saying don't pray Taraweeh.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
So
Definitely
that's the other
pray
thing I want
Tarawih.
to talk about. Like, we can't just look at everything. Oh, is it fard or not? So when you come to like marriage relationships, right? Like your wife doesn't have to cook for your family or anything like that. Oh, it's not for her. Or she doesn't have to breastfeed your child, right? It's not. But we don't look at everything with just fard or not fard. That's not how we used to
black
do
and
it.
white.
Right. Like, and wudu, we just got to do 4 parts for fard, but you don't do that, right?
Yeah.
So this is just like maybe an accident happened. Then we look at, okay, was it fard? Were you sinful or not? In that scenario, we look at it like if an accident happened or you missed Taraweeh, okay, I won't be sinful. Like because you were traveling, like you don't have to make it up.
Yeah.
That's when that thing would come up, whether it's fard or not. But like every day, we shouldn't be saying it's not fard. I'm gonna take a nap today.
Like the example we just gave about the guy that might be working 16, 17 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't take advantage of it. That's what it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
All right, then. So that should clarify everything for this concerning this aspect, right? So right now, I have pretty much a really good question right now. So you guys can be very open in discussing this matter. Just to go back in time real quick, right? A couple of years back, I had a tenant, and there was a young guy who used to live upstairs of my house. And so one day, I just went upstairs to just go see him. I'm like, hey, man, what you're up to nowadays and stuff. So he was like, nothing much. And then he had a protein shake in his hand, right? And this is the month of Ramadan. Again, as Muslims, I'm not being judgmental. We shouldn't be judgmental, right? But we were very free with one another. We're cool with each other, right? So. And he was shaking the protein shake bottles, right? And he was drinking it. And I'm like, hey, wait, you're not fasting, right? So then he goes, nah, bro, I need my gains and I need my protein. So now the question comes, right? A person who's a gym person, right? He's always going to the gym. He's working out. He needs his protein, right? They sometimes say, and he was telling me that I can't afford, not to eat throughout the day because I need my proteins. So would this be permissible to let go of the fasting because of protein? I mean, it's a clear answer, but in a way where you can advise individuals and the youth who especially go to the gym, how would you, because I'm not a gym person, you can see, right? I can take some of your gains and some of your gains, and somebody probably say I need it, right? But so what kind of advice would you guys give?
I'll let Sheikh take
it. I don't have much to say, but like it's fard. We all know it's fard. You have to do it, right? Sometimes we see that people don't fast, and we might not say anything about it. It's not because it's okay for him to fast or not, but it's because it's his choice, and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
The Prophet says, I'm not going to force anything upon you. Like on YouTube, you might see sometimes Muslim YouTubers and stuff take fast very lightly. Very lightly. Like, I fast sometimes, this and that. Like, that's just because that's his personal choice. We live in the West. You can't tell anybody what to do. So that's the reason why it's taken lightly. But religious-wise, it's fard, and you're going to have to answer.
It's one of the pillars of Islam, and that's how you should be taking it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it depends on, you're saying pretty much that it depends how much value you're giving to it, right? This is my religion, this is my fast. And this is, I have to understand that
It's a
this is part of the
right.
fard and the pillars of Islam.
Exactly.
So I have to do it.
And I'm sure there's ways around it. There's basketball players.
Yeah,
that
definitely
fast
we're
and-
gonna invite
Yeah.
a gym guy,
Okay,
inshallah.
okay.
Yeah.
One night, and
Because we can't really
give-
give the advice there.
give
but I'm
us
sure
the
there's
ins
ways.
and outs, you know. So inshallah, definitely we'll leave that for another day.
I mean, if you're speaking health-wise, right, fasting actually has its benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to lose weight, I don't know about the gym guys, but when you fast, you have growth hormones and stuff like that. So fasting is actually good. The intermittent fasting is a whole new thing about
Yeah.
losing weight. So like fast one day, eat one day, or fast for 16, 20 hours straight every day, and then eat in that window. So fasting has its benefits. But the guys who want to like do muscles and stuff, I mean, I think it's just the priorities.
I
are just
personally know
reversed.
people who go to the gym. They go at nighttime, or they go right before suhoor, the 24-hour gym, or some of them even do gym right before iftar. So there's a way around it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
of course, 100%.
I'm not the best person to give you that advice because I don't go to the gym.
Yeah.
But inshallah,
You gotta-
the whole clarification came about because whether I can give up fasting for my proteins.
I'm sure there are Muslim nutritionist people out there that could give advice as well. You know,
Inshallah,
if
yeah,
anyone's
so
out there listening, you know.
that's the plan. We're gonna get someone, inshallah. So the next question here, and if you have anything to add after this question, a sister asked that she gets a lot of headache and migraines. So it's not just from her angle, but it could be anyone. What kind of advice would you give a person who has headaches and migraines throughout the day? Especially the sister says she has a lot of kids, she has a lot of things on her plate, she has to fulfill, she has to cook, right? So what kind of advice will you give a person with headaches and migraines? And also you can add in there, some people have headaches and migraines because they didn't have their caffeine that day. And Sheikh Junaid, we also know, you just hopped on the caffeine, and you guys are also going through some caffeine withdrawals.
Yeah.
So you guys can give advice for that.
I mean, like Sheikh Akib said about the headache thing, like unless it's gonna make you go unconscious or like there's
It's
some
like
detrimental
totally
effects.
unbearable. Like you can't even handle it. You're about to pass out.
Yeah, yeah.
From a health perspective, I just wrote some points here. You know, avoid salted food. Take a nap, sleep at nighttime, drink. You know, stay hydrated. 6 to 7, 8 glasses a night.
And I think that's one thing that people miss out, the hydration, because what a lot of people do is they won't eat throughout the night. They'll wait till suhoor time and start gulping down like 6, 7 glasses of water. That doesn't, you're not retaining
You know?
that water, right?
Like a camel.
Yeah.
Just
The
fueling
best
up.
thing is to do it from iftar time. Slowly just drink a glass here, a glass there, and keep your body hydrated from the very beginning, right? As opposed to waiting until suhoor time and just trying to, you know, gulp down all that water.
To avoid also sugary things, because sometimes it has an impact on your health towards your headache and migraine. I'm not a doctor, but it's just a general stuff, right? And also, don't forget about the spiritual side. The spiritual side of things is that, you know, dark room, because light and sun sometimes gives you headaches and migraines. So have a dark room, make a zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just meditate, take it easy, inshallah. Lastly, before I go off and let you guys go, what kind of encouragements can you give for the people who are fasting and the time of Ramadan already passed in terms of days? So right now we're like 2 weeks into the month of Ramadan, and some people may feel, hey, you know, I missed out the beginning portion of Ramadan. It doesn't really matter anymore. So it's just another 2 weeks and Ramadan is finished and Eid day is going to be here. So there's no point of me engaging in any type of ibadah or anything like that. So what kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, I'll let Sheikh Akib start off with
the
this
most
one.
amazing thing about Ramadan going by, right? Even though you kind of feel sad that, you know, 2 weeks have gone by, 15 days, whatever the case may be. The cool thing with Ramadan is the more closer you get to the end, the more rewards there are in it. Because the last 10 days
Wow.
are the
Yeah.
best, right? So you might be feeling sad that the first 2 weeks are gone, right? Or you might feel like, you know, I haven't done enough the first 2 weeks, so, you know, there's no point. But in reality, you have the last 10 nights waiting for you, and that's actually the best part of Ramadan. In fact, that's where you're supposed to step it up a notch. So if you feel like you haven't done much the first couple weeks, I mean, just gear up and get ready for the last 10 nights. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ramadan, pretty much, even if it's towards the end, it can be used as a turning point from your life, right?
Yeah.
And just as I, understand it, Islam is not something in which what you become in 5 years, 10 years is about how you utilize the very day that you have, an improvement every day.
Every day,
So
yeah.
even if you have the remaining days of the month of Ramadan, whether it be at 5, 10, or even a little bit more than that, use every day, like
Yeah.
is your last. Like you use it as an improvement every day, right?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I mean, essentially, what's happening here with like, the past days of Ramadan, I've wasted it. It's actually what we got used to before Ramadan. Our shaitan used to tell us, "Oh, your
Yeah.
past is bad. Your past is bad."
Before Ramadan, it's like, oh, you'll do it in Ramadan.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then when Ramadan comes, then
yeah. So don't let your past decide your future. I mean, you just
Yeah, some people might even feel going to Ramadan, what's the point? You know, I've done so much, you know, there's a real no
Mhm.
point of going through it.
yeah.
that
And they actually labeled as seasonal Muslims. That's so derogative,
Yeah.
right? I don't
what
like
is it?
that.
What is it again?
Seasonal Muslims.
Oh, seasonal
Yeah.
Muslims, Ramadan Muslims.
Yeah, like that's so
It's
mean.
become a joke, but it's not even that funny, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it,
Guy
it
that
isn't.
comes to
It
masjid.
isn't. You know, because when you say seasonal Muslims, that also has the impression of being very judgmental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
So that brother wants to follow some sunnah, particularly in Ramadan, like, oh, he's just a Ramadan
Yeah,
Muslim. Or that
exactly.
sister that wants to put on hijab, oh, she's just only putting it on because of the month of Ramadan.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because that very action can be a turning point for
Exactly.
anyone, literally.
You never know
Yeah.
what one deed that you might do.
Yep. One deed, right? One deed that could bring you in closer to Allah, or one deed that can bring you,
Exactly.
take you out and
Exactly.
far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right?
Yeah.
Is about it.
Yeah.
Are we closing up and wrapping up for the
Yeah.
day?
Episode 1. I think we're good.
Episode 2.
Oh, this is
Episode
2. Yes.
2, inshallah. So
It's been a busy
jazakumullah.
month.
Right?
Busy
It's been a
month.
busy month. Yeah, Taraweeh
Fasting.
and all of that, right? Fasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept each and every one of our fast
Ameen.
and ibadah. Every sajda, every ruku, every dua. May Allah
Ameen.
ta'ala accept each and every one of our deeds.
Ameen.
So inshallah, we will catch you on the next episode. Jazakumullah khairan for tuning in. Barakallahu lana wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right. It's a wrap.